Sagrika from Republish. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sumona Chakladar, and I'm really thankful for giving me this platform to write my first book, my debut book, with you.
Congratulations on writing your first debut book. Could you please tell us a little more about yourself?
Sure. So currently I'm pursuing my doctorate. I'm doing my PhD in management, especially in organizational behavior. My area of study is cognitive psychology and how to increase the memory, which is the most alarming, which is reducing most alarmingly these days. So that is what I'm working on. I have 2 master's degree before that.
Could you tell us a little about your book?
Sure. So my book is Echoes of Perception. So, well, in my book, I've tried to bridge the cognitive psychology, the theories with the lived emotions. This is something which is not only coming from self-experience, but something which I have also witnessed as a primary witness around my friends, my colleagues, my cousins. Many a times I'm sure that in our Hindi movies, whenever we get a hit, whenever we see a hero or a heroine getting a hit at the backside of the head, the first falling dialogue comes out as, who am I? Where am I? Right? So that is how we need to understand. My book actually talks about how memory decays. So this is one of the very jovial method that the movies have come up with, but there's so many other reasons how and why memory decays. Aging is definitely a reason, but in today's life, in the 21st century, we can see the memory decay happening in younger adults as well. See, as an individual, we've seen evolutionary eras, evolutionary phases. Like there was a phase when scientific awakening was happening, like in the 17th century. Then a political shift happened. Then information expansion happened, and eventually we have this working memory, which is the first room that any information comes into. So let's talk about the memories as a room. So the working memory is the first room wherein the information comes into. And working memory is a very short duration memory. So you cannot expect that memory to stay for long. Now, this working memory moves this information to the semantic or the episodic memory. So I'm not going into episodic memory, which is more about, episodes or events. Like there are some events we remember, there are some events we forget. Change your perception, not from your point of view, but look from another person's point of view, and you will see that entire story is changed. There is this dual process theory also, which works over here, wherein you can see that there are 2 types of people. One is impulsive and the other is deliberate, right? Now, you cannot say that the deliberate person is a winner and impulsive person is a loser, which is a very cliche thing which everybody accepts. Now, there are many situations wherein a decision is to be taken immediately. I mean, you cannot wait longer, like a life threatening situation. You cannot deliberate on it. You have to take an instant decision. So now the deliberate person or the slow analytical person will find it difficult because he doesn't know how to take, right? So this is what my book talks about, that how you can not only work towards your own future, towards your own self help preparation for your future, but also create it in a very good way. Because people think that memory is reconstructive. That is like history books. If you read a history book, it is written, it is factual. There is nothing that you can defy, or there is nothing that you can counter on, because it is written, it is fact. But memory is not a history book. Memory is not a reproductive book. It is something which could be reconstructed. Every time you think of a memory, let me give you an example. Most of us would have watched a particular sitcom or a movie at least more than 10 times, above 25 years old. So, so what happens is, even if you have like, for example, Friends, let me take the most common example, Friends, the sitcom. So most of us would have watched it more than 10 times for all the seasons. Now, even if you watch it for the 11th, 12th, or even the 15th time for a particular episode, you would find some or other new thing, new information in that particular episode, which you've already watched so many times. Now, what's happening? Your memory is only taking what is relating to it, what is making sense to it, and it is deleting the rest, which you are regaining once you're watching it again. And that is a very, very important proof to say that no, all our memory is not correct. And most importantly, we can reconstruct it, we can reshape it, and we can make our future much, much better.
This is very insightful, but also I'm curious now to know how does the versions of perception, work in your own life?
Oh, it works a lot. Now, okay, so when we talk about perception, it is not only that if I put myself in other person's shoes and then I get to know what exactly it is. Many a times when I'm talking, or not even talking, when I'm thinking and I'm writing, there are two different perceptions you see to yourself. I mean, if you're thinking that, oh, okay, this happened with me, and then you start writing that particular thing, you will find a completely different perception coming out. So it is not even a third person that is coming into the picture. It is you yourself who's bringing in the another perception, which actually comes whilst deliberating on a particular information. There are many such, there are many information.
It
So
keeps
now this
getting
is
more
up to me. So
intense.
how? Yes. And this keeps on haunting you. And everybody has their own, everybody have their own, way to fight against it. How I did was, even obviously most of us would have had some or other events that haunt them. I used to, I'll give you two examples. One is, yes, there have been numerous events wherein the past used to haunt me, but I started asking me this question, is it that important? I mean, it has been so many years now. Will it make any sense? I mean, those people whom I'm not worrying about me. When I'm worrying about other people, what they think. It's not important, not at all important. And the second example, which I would like to give you, which is very recent, I fell down on my own wedding Sangeet, and it was full of audiences, and I fell really bad. Okay, I was wearing heels and everything, and I fell. And obviously, my in-laws' family. I'm a bride, a new bride who's like dancing her heart out, and I fell. But frankly speaking, it didn't move me a bit, because the first thing I started was laughing. Since I started laughing, the people who had their hands on their face, they started laughing too. Until date, everybody says that, oh my God, this is the best bride we've ever seen, who's like the most, smiling, the always smiling bride kind of a situation. So this is something which I wasn't, if you would have asked me maybe 10 years back, but this is something which I have become. How to control this is something which is known as inhibitory control, wherein you start controlling your brain. This comes after a lot of practice and a lot of studying, of course.
Yes, because I think the first instant reaction of ours is, who all are watching. And it's all the
Yes.
bad things. So it is very hard to just
Yes.
laugh it off because
Yes.
it is
Yes. So
not
that's what.
possible. Yeah.
Yes, true. So you put yourself, as I mentioned, you put yourself under the flash bulb. That is the flash bulb memory theory. This is a normal tendency. Nobody does that, but you, oh my God, everybody is looking at me, everybody is judging me. No, nobody is judging you, because this is something which can happen with anyone and everyone. And the more lighter you make a situation at that point of you, it's that point of time itself, the more easier it would be to shape your future.
As you were talking about negative emotions, this is something which I've also noticed in my personal life. That, if I'm upset at something and I've started feeling this negative emotions, what I'll do is I'll reminisce on all sorts of bad things that has happened in my entire life. It all just keeps rushing in, and then this overflowing of crying because now I feel like the biggest victim on this planet who has faced so many things. I'm such a heroine. Everything bad is happening to me.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah.
really
So,
hard.
yeah. So this is also this could be related to one of the theories, which is retrieval-induced forgetting theory. So what happens is, we try to, once we are into a phase of of remembering what all went wrong, so we are consciously trying to retrieve those memories, right? So whilst we are doing it, what we unconsciously do is, whilst consciously trying to retrieve our memories, we are unconsciously deleting the other memories. There is this Stanford president once said, that every time I remember a student's name, I forget a fish's name. So, I mean, what happens is, every time you're trying to retrieve a memory out of your brain, you are deleting one important. It could be important, it could not be important, but then you're definitely deleting one part of your memory unconsciously. So, the first and foremost thing is trying to retrieve really hard. Oh my God, this happened. Okay, then you go back. Oh, when I was that happened. Don't do that. That's not necessary. If it is necessary, it is there in your long-term memory. If it is not necessary, don't try to retrieve, because you're probably deleting more important memories. And secondly, it might intrigue you to know that our brain works, as I mentioned before, our brain works in a way that chunks or segments or makes schema that is, makes a group of information. So that, they send it to, each information is kind of screened. Okay, this falls under this group, then it is sent to that. Now, as I mentioned, the first and foremost thing, our short-term memory capacity has, as per the studies, as per a theory, it says that our short-term memory capacity has 7 plus minus 2 item remembrance. Okay, so it is very short. Now, from that, it is moved to long-term. So you have to be very, very choosy that what do you want to keep in your memory? What is worth keeping in your memory?
But
And
is
what
it
is not?
actually in our hands to, choose the
Very much.
memories?
So yeah, that is what I spoke about, inhibitory control, how to control your brain. Okay, now this theory talks about our impulsive nature of reacting immediately. If you ask me, I used to be very impulsive. If you ask me, me 10 years before, I used to be very impulsive. I used to like react immediately if somebody would have not been the way I expect that person, because everything falls under the expectation. This is how a person should behave or do or work. But now I understand that, okay, if this person has behaved in this way, why has this person behaved in this way? There must be some other explanation than my instant mind is giving me. And when you just deliberate for 2 minutes, you will see the other explanation also. So that is how your inhibitory control works.
Yes, actually, this is so insightful because, again, about the thing of impulsive reactions, we tend to give such impulsive reactions and then the damage is just done. And, you can't fix it.
And you
So,
cannot take it back.
yes, and it is done. Like, there is no going backward.
Yes.
What do you think you have, realized or something that you've learned about yourself or about perceptions in general while writing this book?
A lot. This actually brought me much more closer to my own emotions, if you ask me. um, Many a times, not consciously, but we don't pay heed to our emotions, because we are very busy in our lives. And we just feel that probably this is not important. No, I mean, if you are not paying importance to your own emotions, who will? Because you are the owner of your own emotions. Nobody else would be interested in your emotions than you. So the way you pamper yourself, the way you love yourself, and the way you signify your emotions to yourself, that is what makes you more closer to yourself. And once I have become much more closer to myself, if you ask me, because even better, you study about particular, I mean, this obviously comes for us researchers who are very much keen into researching things whenever a particular new thing comes again. Okay, I'll give you one example. Like, when we were kids, we always used to see that our parents used to say, oh my god, this person, your friend is so good in mathematics, why can't you score well? Okay, so he's so good, you can never score well. So there are two types of expectations set up, which our people used to do, I mean, which everybody does still now, like our teachers, our parents, our friends, our colleagues, our bosses, managers, management. So they set an expectation. Now they speak up about their expectation. Now, there are two types of expectation. One, they say that I know you can do this. And one, they say that, oh my God, you can never do. Now, this is known as a Pygmalion effect, which actually speaks about other person's expectations actually comes into your mind in a way that you either pull yourself up or pull yourself down as per their expectation. So this is very important. You have to see in whose company you are. Are they pulling you up or are they pulling you down? Because if somebody is going through a lot of negatively charged emotions, definitely the Pygmalion effect is working in a negative direction. So you really need, that person really needs to have people who are surrounded to pull that person up. Otherwise, if you're being pulled down, the insecurities start piling up. Insecurities are the most burdensome item in our memory, which definitely don't need any space. When I talk about cognitive economy, I mean, you understand it this way, that if I have 10 rupees, if I have 10 rupees from a perspective that I am a student, I'm a kid who's going to school today, and I have 10 rupees for my school today only, and I need to buy a samosa, and I need to buy a kachori, and I need to buy a Coca-Cola. But now there is something that is not good for me. Maybe, you can say that, yeah, maybe there is the outside, not so healthy food, which is not
Junk.
available in the canteen, junk food. So now it is up to you whether you will utilize those 10 or the 5 rupees in junk food, or you want to utilize that in, because you only have 10 rupees. Similarly, the cognitive economy works. Our attention, our motivation, our confidence, our memory space, these are very, though this is a very known terminology, but it is not acknowledged as much as it should, is what I feel. People do not bother that they are clugging their memory space with unwanted, irrelevant information, which is only worsening their future perspective, future aspects of their lives. So my book and my upcoming books would majorly focus on how to declutter your memory space with not relevant stuffs, and make it more more logical, more beneficial tool for you for your future aspects.
Yes. And this is such a vast topic. I think